Right guys, so the new Automobilista update 1.5.3 has just dropped. I'm at the historic 1991 Barcelona track. There's been a lot of talk about this active suspension and other electronic aids and stuff that the Formula HiTech cars had, right? But before we actually get into a Formula HiTech, what I've done is I've come to, let me just get the starter button for this. I've come to just take the one of the existing cars. So this is the McLaren that is the non-active suspension and non-driver aid one and all of that stuff. Here it is. This is from the Gen 4 Formula Classic. So let's have a look at how this compares, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare it then to the actual new cars. So we'll do maybe 1 or 2 laps around this track on both models. Plenty of grip. A little bit lively, a little bit threatening, but not too much. And yeah, it feels like a car should. You know, you get the bit of understeer. If you go in too deep, then as soon as the front grips up, it throws the rear out. So you've got that typical understeer, oversteer, just from slightly overdriving. Yeah, and it will. I can feel it just wanting to slide around a little bit as well, just from being pushed a little bit too much in certain corners. There's a lazy slide, just from the weight shift of the car, no doubt, but you know, as you'd expect. Then we wait because we've got a bit of understeer in the slow speed, and it is fairly well balanced in the mid to high speed. So, you know, typical of a, let's say, a non-active suspension car. It's pretty much neutral everywhere, which is, you know, probably what you want, what you'd expect. Yeah, and I can feel threats of a bit of snap from the rear tyres wanting to let go. That's obviously no traction control, but still a really, really great car to drive. There's that understeer again, just in the slow speed, and then the snap as we're getting on power. But again, feels absolutely mint, to be honest. Really, really fun car to drive, really connected to it. There's that rear threatening to dance. And at this lap, I'm just being a little bit more ham-fisted with the entries, or the inputs rather, on the steering, just a bit more careless, just to see how it behaves kind of above that limit when the weight of the car starts getting thrown around a little bit. Now, it will be stable anyway because it's a Formula car, but it's still a car nonetheless. It still should adhere to physics, and it does, to be fair to it. Yeah, okay, that felt really good. I'm not too bothered about the lap time. It was a messy-ish lap, what, 1:24.638, like whatever. We'll just use that as a reference point. So what we'll do is I'll go and get one of the new. Well, the sound of that's amazing, isn't it? Just skip forward to get to the action bits. What I'll do, I'll jump into the Gen 1 of the Formula HiTech in that version of the McLaren as well. We'll take it to the same track in the same conditions and see two things: what electronics are on the car, and then does it feel any different, and if it does feel any different, then where exactly is that difference. Alright guys, so here we are then in the Formula HiTech Gen 1. This is the McLaren version, the MP4 7A, I believe. Beautiful looking car, as normal, from Riza, really well done models. And what do we have? So we don't have any ABS, we do have control over the brake bias, and we have traction control. Let's put the TC dead in the middle, and let's go and see what this car is all about. Just take a handy through the first couple of corners. So already, like, I know like the tyres are probably still a little cold just out of the pits, but already it feels way more compliant. A lot less understeer here compared to the other one. And even on the lockup, when I get it out of shape, it comes back into grip a lot quicker. The oversteer is way more controlled, obviously, with the TC. Yeah, Jesus, this is a lot quicker. It's like it's on rails. And there we go. That correction, much easier to catch in this car, and a lot less, a lot less punishing. Yeah, way more stable for the same kind of, well, what feels like similar or the same speed. Whoops. Just going to put the TC up to 6. Maybe we'll hear it kicking in and cutting the power. Yeah, this is way more stable. Feels like a go-kart on steroids. A lot of steroids. It's like it's so compliant, considering like it's a Formula 1 car. It's an old school F1 car, so it still feels raw, but considering that, it's so compliant. Oops, a little bit deep. It's okay though, we got the power down to get a wider run on the arc. Brake bias is a little too far to the back, I think. Let's push it forward a tiny bit. We'll do one more lap in this. I know it's probably cheating, but I do think that it deserves to get a clean lap in. Yeah, let's get a clean lap. 128.5 and what was it, 26.3 in the other. The rear end compliance on this is really something. Yeah, very compliant, incredibly stable. I can feel the steering wheel having locked up. Bit of vibration, well, a lot of vibration when you load up the corner. A lot of vibration there. Whew. A lot of vibration, man. If I was doing a full race, there's no doubt I'd be changing tyres. Even at this stage, the vibration is pretty bad. That's my problem though. Yeah, the vibration or the flat spot on the tyre pushed me out wide there. But what do we do? 23.999 or 24 flat, considering that we'd ran wide at the last corner there. But the vibration in the tyre is a bit mental. And look at the tyre wear actually on the front. So those flat spots must actually add to the wear rate of the tyre. But how that felt versus the other, the Formula Classic Gen 4 McLaren, this was way more compliant, way more stable. The rear never really threatened at all, and the front was really stable. The only time that I had an issue was when I was overdriving the car or asking too much, particularly from the front. Most of the problems were just being sloppy on corner entry, like so heavy on the brakes while turning. That got the back to step out and caused a few front lockups like that. But active suspension in these cars, or how they're modelled, there's a massive difference. there is a massive difference in how these behave versus the regular Formula Classics with the what we call the passive suspension. This is way more stable to drive. Definitely you do notice it. Anyway, let's go get the Formula HiTech Gen 2 and we'll go and get the McLaren in that lineup as well, and again do 1 or 2 laps around this track and see how that compares to this and the Formula Classic Gen 4. Alright guys, so here we are then in the MP48 McLaren. This is from the Formula HiTech Gen 2. I did notice there is a auto shift function on this as well, where if you hit the red line it will shift up, or you can see it yourself there in the menu. So this is on the on these particular formulas. Now you can turn it on or off. It's entirely up to you. I discovered this by accident actually when I was in the beta or not for media branch of this game about a week or 2 ago when this was all being released. But yeah, some nice additional things there as well. Another thing that this car has that the other one didn't is ABS. So we do have anti-lock brakes as well. So this seems to be the full banana when it comes to electronic aids. And we have TC as well, so I'll leave the TC on 6 and leave the ABS as it is, and we'll do the same again. So we'll do like, you know, 1 or 2 maybe hot laps. And just like the other one, we'll get the tyres up to temperature as well. I'm also just looking at the suspension movement over the curbs. Look at that, over that curb, like it's like it raises up and then down in a very controlled manner. I wonder if that's part of the modelling here. But man, it's so smooth. Grip for days in this car, man, and how easy it feels. Even the bits of oversteer that are threatening, like it's brought back to, you know, it's brought back down to earth by the TC. It's just so compliant. Yeah, it turns on it. It turns so well. Yeah, what a car. This is actually fun. This is a lot of fun. Not that the other ones weren't, but do you know this car is going to appeal to people that, let's say, are used to driving GT3 cars and stuff in this sim or other sims, right, that are used to having driver aids, you know, like the ABS and the TC and stuff like that, and let's say they drive GT3 because the Formula cars in most sims had been too, let's say, intimidating up to this point. Well, this model fixes that. And there's the auto shifting. Oh, I'm not shifting. So I can shift if I want. I can turn that function on or off, but this is fully auto shifting. But you do also have the option to shift like there if I want to. But this is, if you're a GT3 racer or similar, you're used to kind of lower powered cars because the higher powered Formula 1 cars have been, you know, you've been intimidated by them because so much power that you'll spin and difficult to control and all of that. These cars are for you if you're that person. They are relatively easy to drive compared to any other F1 car that you'll come across, and they're forgiving as well. Right, so there's a 23.2, so quicker again than the previous one. Now what I'm going to do one more lap. This time I'm going to abuse the electronics, right? Pull on the brakes, no lockup, and I was fully... And you can hear the TC just staying in. I'm full throttle, like all around that corner. The TC is just doing its thing. Again, abusing the brakes. Any other Formula car, this would lock up. But I'm just absolutely abusing the electronics here. No hint of a lockup at all. So these Formula HiTechs, in what they do, it's totally different compared to the regular Formula Classics and stuff like that. It's a first in the sim racing world that really, you know, for Formula car with active suspension, this is a game changer. And I'll tell you why now in a minute. Let me just finish this lap. I think this is a bigger deal than what a lot of people realise. What a car, what a... 21.8, okay. She's quick. Let me just change the view forward a teeny bit. There we go. I'd like to get the view so I can get the collar of the suit of the driver. Yeah, that's okay. So, right. Let's have a think about this. This, for me, is game-changing. Absolutely game-changing, right? The reason being is that, as I said, if you're intimidated by those high-power Formula cars that have so much power, they lock up easily because they're so lightweight, and everything is just hyper. You know, you as a driver, you might be used to touring cars, you might be used to maybe lower-powered Formula cars at a push, or you race GT3s, GT4s, in whatever sim that you choose to drive. What this does is this now makes Formula 1 cars accessible to all of those drivers, because you pretty much, in this car at least, you won't lock a wheel. The traction control is very engaging to help you as a driver, and I felt I could drive this in a way where I could just focus on the driving lines, on the entries and exits. I didn't really have to think too much about wheel lock or slide or any of that. So, and you know, with the active suspension being modelled and stuff, this has not been done before that I'm aware of in a modern sim, or in any sim maybe for that matter. And this is a game changer for anyone looking to break into, you know, high-powered open wheelers or Formula cars, and to be able to do it in a Formula car such as this and such as these is absolutely incredible. It really is. Like, we're spoiled, I think. So yeah, I think that as I say, I think it's a bigger deal than what most people may realise at this point. Sound of that is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, what a car, what a car. Yeah, amazing, amazing. But yeah, as I say, I think it's a bigger deal because of, not only is it a new car that has never been done, but it now makes Formula 1 cars, and old school Formula cars at that, which are the really raw ones that we all love, are now accessible to almost any sim racer. I mean, the only thing, you'll have to get used to the speed. Obviously, they're still fast, right? But as far as driving control goes, game changer. It opens up so many options. The next thing I'm going to have to do is put these on the grid. I've done 5 laps of a race in the 93 version of Interlagos, I think, in these cars, and you know, from what, you know, initial impressions at least, like the AI and stuff is really, really good. But this is the first time I thought I'd actually drive and see how these compare to the older Formula Classics, and there's a massive difference in how they handle. They still feel similar in the sense of what downforce is available to them and the grip they have probably in their entirety. These are a bit grippier, to be fair, right? But the big difference for me is how they behave through the corner. So from entry, mid-corner, and particularly on exit. You notice the driving aids on corner entry, that's for sure, as well as the pitch of the car. So when you turn in and the back wants to come around if you're sloppy, it's a lot less pronounced than the HiTechs. This one, it's not really pronounced at all, which is good. And as for the TC, like the Gen 2 of the HiTech, this one was even more so than the Gen 1. But in both circumstances, everything about them was much easier to drive. They were more compliant, they were a lot more stable, they weren't really pitch sensitive as such. Certainly this one wasn't, and still turned really well. This had a very strong nose on it. It would want to turn in a lot quicker, and it had grip out of nowhere. So yeah, the whole active suspension modelling gig and whatever else makes a massive difference. Great fun to drive, an absolute blast. And again, and I'll repeat myself, if you have been on the fence about a Formula car or driving a Formula 1 car in a sim because of the power and the anti-lock and it was just generally too difficult for you, this is your solution. And not only is it forgiving enough to get you in, it's also an absolutely brilliant car to drive as well. Great modelling from Riza once again. Thanks for watching, guys, and yeah, see you on track.
No way.